Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Andre and I'm a realtor, creator, living here in North Jersey, providing services for real estate and also bringing awareness to the real life in real estate. And that is what it's like to be an agent and what it's like outside of my profession, because our business progress is correlated to our personal progress, and that is why I created this channel for you guys to see that progress within myself, and hopefully you too can reflect it on your own, whether in real estate or not. But thank you so much for tuning in. Today is a little different because we are not talking about sales. We are talking about personal wellness, and it's important for us to realize how much we are capable of. The only way to do that is by taking a step back. So today I wanted to talk about the three things that I've realized this month of January. As we go into the month of February, number one is that good things come when you rest. Anything and everything needs a rest, whether you're a machine, whether you are the most laid-back worker in the world, doing the most laid-back activities, you deserve rest, because there is a fine line between working at your most capable self and also resting at your most capable self. In social infrastructure where we are always thinking about working, and if we're not working, our mind is flying somewhere else. Possible for people to appreciate the idea of resting. When you rest, good things will still happen to you, because for you to appreciate your progress in life, for you to appreciate your progress in your career and your personal life, you also have to appreciate taking a step back and realizing it for what it is. Because ultimately, one day of resting is taking one step back, taking two steps forward. Taking one step back for some people, and even myself, means everything, right? Growing up in this society where people are always constantly trying to get somewhere, it's impossible for us to appreciate the idea of resting. Why? Because we believe that if we don't work, then we don't make a progress. We're not making progress. We are not happy with not seeing progress. And ultimately, it leads us to working while we're resting, right? You can't be two places at once. There's a reason why people take vacations for half the year, and there's a reason why people take short vacations, because everybody functions differently. You have to find out that fine line in between and accept it, right? Accept the idea that this is your true natural self, and the only way that you're going to be able to progress is to appreciate where you are now. So appreciate the idea of being able to rest, because good things are going to happen to you no matter what. Good things are already happening to you while you rest, because when you rest, you are able to just absorb everything that's affected you, whether it's a good or a bad thing. And it's entirely up to you to realize what that fine line is in between. When is a good time for you to rest and when is a good time for you to work is your decision. It's your nature. Personally, I take longer breaks these days because I've come to realize that putting in a lot of production in a short amount of time allows me to do the work that I need to do, and then set the foundation while I'm resting, right? So appreciate it. Appreciate that process, because when you lay the foundations of what you're capable of and when you need to take a step back, you're able to progress even further. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is that you can't control people's thoughts, actions, and emotions. The idea of self-worth in a room is really knowing within yourself what you bring to the table, right? Whether or not you do something, does it serve purpose for you to know what the other person feels like? Does it serve purpose for you to know whether this person feels bad about you or is laughing at you? It all lies within yourself, what your actions means, right? And that is why knowing your self-worth, knowing your values is important, because some things might not align with you, and that's totally okay. In life, you kind of just take the good out of the bad, and even with people that you love, even with people that you work with, you're going to see some things about them that you wouldn't align with, and that's okay, because you can't control that. The same way that they can't control your thoughts and emotions about what their actions are, the energy reciprocates to you. You're more than capable of doing what you want to do when you realize that acknowledging people's thoughts and what their actions are don't really mean that much to you, because it serves no purpose. Screw it. If someone if someone crosses you over, stay hydrated. If someone crosses you over and they have their intentions, they know their intentions, that's their truth, so you decide to accept, right? Ultimately, you as an individual decide what's right for you and what's not. And if you feel intuitively that the actions, thoughts, and emotions that people create around your environment is good for you, whether or not it's making you happy or it's helping you progress, it's happening for you. It's happening for you either way. So, the idea of worrying about people's thoughts, actions, and emotions really don't mean that much to you, because it's not going to affect you in any way, shape, or form. Things are still going to be the way it is, whether or not you know their thoughts. And so you constantly have to think intuitively and know within yourself that this is the right thing for me to do, right? And that's the only thing that matters. Everything else, you gain clarity through various other forms. However, if you keep thinking about the other person's ideas, presence, you're slowly diverting to their reality, and the last thing you want is to lose yourself in the process while trying to understand somebody, because you're in the process of trying to understand yourself. Never lose sight of who you are as a person, because you know what you bring to you know what value you bring to the table, and you know what people are capable of, right? So don't even worry about that. Don't worry about the thoughts and actions and emotions that people have, because things are still going to be the way it is no matter what. And if they do express anything to you, or you feel that they are, let those thoughts be still, right? You can decide whether or not if someone crosses you over, if it's a good thing or a bad thing for you. But ultimately, I've come to realize that things happen for you. It happens for you. So you can't control people's thoughts, actions, and emotions. And the more they realize this, the more you accept things for what they are. And when you decide to detach the idea of taking things personally, emotionally, the more cautious you are of your decisions. And that's what makes you a human being, is that you're able to decide how you want to take things. And no matter how hard it is for you to do this and what processes you have, that's you. And hope you realize that. And number 3 is trusting your intuition. When I ask people sometimes, do they get intuition? Sometimes they would say that no, because they're kind of oblivious to things, or they kind of brush away some things and just let things happen, and eventually realize that this isn't what they ought to be. This isn't what they feel that was the right decision. When you're talking about intuition, the idea of intuition is your higher self talking to you and telling you essentially what's best for you. Maybe it's the first thought that comes to your mind when you ask a question, right? When you are driving or you want to thinking about making a left or a right, then that's your intuition speaking to you. And so there's so many forms and variations of what it means to you spiritually. My belief is that your intuition is all your past self, all the versions of yourself from the past, making up this one deciding factor of where you are now, and believing that this might be the best for you. And coming from a position where intuition it's hard to come around because there's so many factors that come into place, right? You have to realize that you have nothing to lose, and everything will happen for you no matter what. It's happening for you no matter what. And if your intuition is telling you one thing while logically speaking it might not be the best, sometimes it's good to realize that some things don't make sense right now. Some things don't make sense right now because you never really have the answers to everything, right? And that's what intuition is here for you. Because in moments where you don't have the answers, the only thing that you really have is your emotional self, because you almost lose the logical aspect of it. So trust within yourself that your intuition is leading you to the highest form of decision for yourself, because it's your higher self speaking to you. And this decision from your intuition is from all the past versions of yourself recollecting these thoughts and experiences and emotions, and deciding this one thing that is for you. And you decide how big of a magnitude of a decision this is. Either way, it's the same concept. Trust your intuition no matter what. It's the best thing that you'll ever do. If you need any advice as far as figuring out your intuition, expose yourself to other people, because other people's emotions, other people's thought processes are also connected to their intuition. So the more you instill these experiences from other people, the more you slowly realize more about yourself too along that process. And it's not going to come in any other way besides knowing who you really are. You got to figure out why your intuition is telling you this, because sometimes the decisions that you do make takes more than logical reasons. It takes your intuition. So those are the 3 things that I thought might help you guys as we go through February. And these realizations have helped me tremendously with my personal progress, because sometimes life gets overwhelming, and the one thing that we can focus on is ourselves, is our breathing, is our clear mind, and all these things to make our reality into what it is. Because reality, after all, is just a perception of your presence. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your morning. We are all beautiful people, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.